So, welcome to LNP Renewable System Integrator. Today, we are going to discuss what are the different types of programming languages we can use inside a PLC. Okay, if you are a building management system engineer, or if you're going to work in a building automation and control system, okay, or if you're going to work in an oil and gas industry, or if you're going to work in a process industry, you should be aware of these different types of programming languages. So, International Electrotechnical Commission, okay, has designed 5 different programming languages based on our requirement and application that we're choosing. The first basic language is the ladder logic, and the second one is the sequential function charts, and the third one is function block diagram, and the fourth one is structured text. The last one is instruction list. So, why we want to use a ladder logic, ladder diagram, how it got evolved. So at the initial stage, okay, for the logical controls, relays were used, manual timers were used, manual counters were used. So in order to reduce the space inside a control panel, in order to make its full utilization, in order to make some free spaces, they invented the ladder diagram. With the help of this ladder diagram, with the help of this ladder logic, okay, we can reduce the manual timers, manual counters, and manual number of relays inside a control panel. See here, that's the best example. Okay, see here we have manual timers and the counters, and we have the relays. So if you use these inside a ladder logic, we can reduce it physically inside a control panel. So it reduces the project cost. Next, as we all know earlier, necessity is the mother of invention, because in order to do the relay logic, in order to reduce the number of relays which we are using inside a control panel, we went for this ladder diagram. Okay, now we need a new programming methodology for doing motion controls. So then for doing the motion control, they introduced a new programming technique called sequential function charts. So inside the sequential function charts, we can narrate the steps like a flow chart. What should be the step 1 and what should be the step 2. After the step 2, if you want to take a step 3 or 6 or 8 based on some conditions, and if you need any sort of timers inside that, we can include that inside that. So a necessity makes a new invention called sequential function charts. So furthermore, people thought that we are using the sequential function charts. Why this ladder logic is something weird? Why don't we go for something like a block diagram? So there comes the new invention called functional block diagram. So what is the advantage of this functional block diagram? Inside this functional block diagram, we can, with the help of this functional block diagram, we can do addressing as well as we can provide the tag name at the same place. If you go for a ladder logic, only the addressing you can give at the one place, and if you want to go for a tag name, maybe you need to go inside the list. Inside the list, you need to provide the tag name. Like that, you need to make some sort of modifications. Nowadays, everything is got evolved. Even inside the ladder logic, we can provide these tag names and addressing. But the first invention was made for this functional block diagram. And also, if you're going for a multiple programs, okay, if the program is very long, if you go for a function, if you go for a ladder logic, then it becomes a complicated one. So in order to make a complicated program into a simple one, they introduce this functional block. Say for example, if you're working in a building automation system, okay, there we used to go for do logics for controlling the air handling units, variable air volume units, dampers, fan coil units. They have multiple inputs and multiple outputs. Okay, if we go for a ladder logic using the old methodology, the program will be very big, it will be very complex, consumes more memory. So in order to reduce it, they thought, I need to have a single block diagram for all sort of AHUs. Only thing I need to change is the address and the tag name. So there comes a new invention, this functional block diagram. For a variable air volume, for multiple inputs, they create a simple functional block. Using the same functional block, they used to Just change the name and the address. Rest all the input wiring things, everything is going to be the same. See here, this is an example. Tag names and address, everything we are using it in a sequence in a connection lines. With the help of this connection line, we can create this function block diagram. So as I told earlier, in order to we see here, we have so many logics, diagrams, everything. So everything we can compress and bring inside a functional block. So that is the best advantage of this functional block diagram. This was first invented in the for the Siemens PLC. See here, so that we can use a single functional block for doing our requirements. Next, some people might be good in C programming. So they thought, why those sort of programmers, if they want to do any programming inside the PLC, why don't we invent a new language? So that's why there comes the structured text language. It eventually looks like a C programming. It has conditions, it has starting, it has an ending, even the commands also we can provide. Next, few people thought that even more precise we need to make this programming. They thought we need to make the coding very compact one, and also we need to make this time critical coding. So they invented this instruction list. Instruction list mostly used in the places where we need a compact coding and where we need time critical codings. Thank you. Please subscribe and press the bell icon. If you want to know more and learn more, feel free to contact us. We have provided the contact details in it. Okay. If you're a diploma college or if you're an engineering college, you want your students to be trained on this ladder logic. Okay. On this, if you want your students to be trained in the programming of PLC, programmable logic controllers, you can contact us. We are providing the trainings. Delta, Allen Broadley, Siemens PLCs. Okay. And if you want any consultancy support, design support, you can contact us. We are providing the contact details below. Even if you want to know some of the basics of electrical vehicles, you can contact us. We are providing training on the electrical vehicles as well. And we are also providing design, installation, testing, and commissioning support for solar on-grid, off-grid, and hybrid applications. Thank you so much.